I guess we could do a quick recap of Attack on Titan. Not much really happened. So
Nah,
this
yeah,
won't take
just episode
nearly
one.
as yeah.
Episode one of the final season, part 2.
This picked up right where it left off.
Yeah, it did. What's interesting is that it really isn't a separate season, because even on Hulu and Crunchyroll, it's not listed as final season part 2. It's episode 17. Like
Yep.
it's final season episode 17. So it just like there's not a fucking recap. Like,
Nope.
it's just the next episode.
Literally, the last episode before this one was, him transforming into his Titan form. And then this one starts off with that's still happening. And I guess the big part is that Marley has invaded Paradise Island. And it's only been
a squad.
And it's been less than a month since the attack on Marley. So no one expected them to be able to prepare such an incredible amount of soldiers and firepower in such a short time, literally less than a month. That's actually kind of wild when you think about it, like the military might.
I like what Eren said. Eren, because they told Eren, like, they were like, Eren, retreat, and then he just goes forward, and you hear it in his head, he's like, only Reiner could have convinced them to do something so stupid. And then you see Reiner coming down, and, like, Eren and Reiner facing off. That shit was tight.
Yeah. I also love, when it comes to Eren and Reiner has never been able to beat Eren one-on-one. He just can't. And I love that that's consistent in this episode as well. Reiner gets his ass beat. If this was a one-on-one fight, Reiner would have gotten killed very easily.
There was a part where he straight punched his whole fucking jaw configuration.
He dipped Reiner's attack and punched. He dipped an uppercut and punched down at Reiner with the fucking crystallized hands and took off half his face. I was like, okay, so this is the same as it's always been. And then Reiner did it like a tackle, and then he's about to punch Eren. Eren just kicked him off of him easily. And then got back up. It's very clear that every time they're in Titan form, Eren wins against the Armor Titan. What I'm really surprised about is that when you look at Reiner and Eren in human form, you would never think that Eren beats this guy's ass every single time they fight.
Never.
Reiner looks like he would beat the shit out of little ass Eren. It's just so weird to me that when they're in Titan form, Eren gets the best of him every single time.
I mean, even in Titan form, Reiner's Titan looks...
It does.
Looks better.
You're right. It does look better. It looks like Iron Man. It looks way more intense. Like if someone who's never seen Attack on Titan saw those two things and said, "Who's stronger? Do you think?"
Yeah.
They will look at the armor one and be like, "That one." If they're not trying to be all weird about it and be like, "Oh, well, because you're asking, it must be that one." You know what I mean? Like, if they just say based on looks, based on what it looks like, which one of these Titans do you think is stronger? It would definitely be the Armor Titan.
I think 9 times out of 10.
Yes, but for whatever reason, the Attack Titan just whoops ass, and so Reiner gets beat up. But then here comes Galliard as the Jaw Titan, and he tries to come up from behind.
And even 2-on-1, they ain't got the smoke. 2-on-1, they don't got it.
2-on-1, they would have also gotten killed.
They're losing after he gets shot in the fucking head by a cannon. They still can't touch him.
If it were 1v2. They would absolutely get wrecked. They would absolutely get wrecked. We finally see Eren using the Warhammer Titan. I think that's really cool the way he uses it. And Eren is smart, and I love the way he used it because Galliard went right for the nape, and he started growing fucking spikes from the back to the nape immediately. I just think that is so clever. And then obviously Galliard, we already know. Whatever he's made out of is strong enough to break through that crystal shit.
Yep.
So he breaks the spikes that Eren creates to protect himself, and he kicks Eren in the back, and then Reiner's right there to grab Eren by the face, and he's like, you by yourself, you're not that much of a threat, which is cap. And the people who are watching it, the one black guy in the show, and then Yelena, they're watching it and they're terrified
because they didn't have to give the one black guy the hardest name ever. His name is it's like Onbantnukun or something. It is nonsense.
Jesus, that shit is bad.
I can't say his name.
I won't even try to say it. Maybe from now on, I'll just call him O.
Yeah.
It's because it is really hard to say. For me. Sorry.
It's hard to say. I don't think it's hard to say for anyone. It's not a word I think an English-speaking person can say naturally.
Yeah, it's I don't even try at this point. I'm just call him O. But yeah, O and Yelena are terrified. And so O decides to just run. He just runs away. And he runs to the prisoners that they have, which happens to be Armin and Mikasa, Connie, and all, the typical team.
Yep.
The Survey Corps people that we all know from this entire show. He runs to them. He pleads his case about how, look, Eren is fighting right now. Marley's here. There's a lot of shit going on. They've invaded. Eren needs your help. And they're like, why the fuck should we? Connie gets really mad, and I don't blame him. He says, I've been betrayed by Reiner, Bertholdt, Eren, literally everybody. He names 4 people. He's like, every single person
you guys
that I've,
like the guy you guys
yes,
like,
yeah. He's like, every single person that I've ever trusted and followed behind has betrayed me. So why the fuck should I listen to you now? I'm literally in prison right now.
Yep.
Like, I'm literally a prisoner right now. You're talking about you need my help. Like, get the fuck out of here. So that was a very real and human emotion to have. Like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't know who's who. I don't know what's what. But then Armin, the voice of reason, he comes in and he's like, listen, I do think Eren is actually still on our side. I don't believe that Eren is this horrible person. And then he asked me, Casa, like, do you want to help Eren? And she's like, I do, but I can't help but to think about what he said to me, which was that these aren't even my own. This isn't my own will that I want to protect him, that I want to help him. This is actually the Ackerman blood flowing through my body that is forcing me to do it. And, Armin says, I think that he was lying about that, but Armin is just making shit up as he goes, I feel like. Because he said, I think Eren just made that up on the spot. I'm like, Armin, you made that up on the spot. Eren is telling the truth. That the Ackerman shit is real. So that, that whole thing is pretty interesting. But I guess speaking of Ackermans, we kind of glossed over the opening of the episode.
The episode opens with Levi just looking cooked.
Levi is cooked, and this is the worst we've seen him. We've seen Levi injured before a couple times. He broke his foot to save, because Mikasa made an error against the female Titan. We saw him break his foot, and we've seen him a little injured, but we've never seen him like, he looked dead. So when the episode opened and they showed literally fingers, they were just bloody fingers detached from a human body, right? Like, just fingers. And I was staring at that like, okay, I hope that's not whose I think it is. But when they showed him, he looks so much worse than I expected. He literally has a gigantic gash from the top of his head to the bottom of his head. Yeah. Like a gash going through an eye, through his face. It's huge. It's thick. It's huge.
Like gray.
His skin is gray, so he's been bleeding. And also, he's splintered. There's wood literally impaled all over his body. His face has literally 3 pieces of wood impaled into it. He looks terrible.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna make the argument of him not being dead. Because
okay, you're saying that. Okay, I was going to say, I know how they're gonna resurrect him. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know anything about how he's still alive.
He's dead. Like, I was like, he's fucking dead. And when Hanji came up and said that he was dead, for half a second I was like, holy shit. And then
me too.
Yeah, I was like, he's really fucking dead. But then as the scene went on, I was like,
you realize what it was. Yeah, it's a ruse.
I don't think he's dead. And then especially when she escaped with his body, like, he's
so the first thing
dead,
is that
but how?
Yeah, the way they drew him, he looks like he should be dead by all rights. There's no reason for him to still be alive. I think that if they wanted him to be alive, they shouldn't have shown him in that condition. I think that was a bit overboard. He looks like a dead body. There's no life in his eyes. His skin is a different color. The gash in his face, the splinters all over his body. He looks really bad. The missing fingers, everything. I'm sure there's shit in the manga that they didn't even show in this episode because it's probably too gory, but I imagine that his body is in a terrible condition. Not a fighting condition for the rest of the season, at least. And the only thing I can think of is that he's going to become a Titan, and then he'll eat somebody, and he'll become a human again, and all that stuff. Yeah. That's the only way that he could be saved, in my opinion, is if he gets injected with the serum.
That's the only way he does anything for the rest of this arc.
Yes.
Because otherwise, if they don't turn him to a Titan, then he's got to be out of commission for the rest of the arc. And then, and when the series is done and there's a 5-year flash forward, we'll see him, in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair. Yep. See, look at us. Look at us. Who knew? Yeah, he'll get the Guy Sensei treatment. It's given Guy, right? Guy at the end of Naruto was considered one of the strongest shinobi, opening all 8 gates. But then you see what it cost him. He pretty much ends up in a wheelchair in Boruto. So Levi may end up that way. or they'll turn him into a Titan, and then he'll eat someone who has an actual one of the 9. He'll become human again, and then we'll see the scariest shit we have ever seen in the entire series, which is a person who is deadly as a human and deadly as a Titan. Now, Annie, she was somewhat of both, but not nearly as deadly as Levi. I don't think that anybody will question Annie versus Levi in human form. It's not even close. I mean, she couldn't beat him in Titan form.
I wonder what
So,
would happen. Because Annie is the female Titan. I wonder
yeah,
if a
a
male
male.
or Levi. Because I was thinking, I was like, I want who, like, who would Levi eat? Like, who would they set up for Levi to eat? And then I was like, they do have Annie. I mean, she is in the
She's
crystal,
just,
but they have the Jaw Titan now.
yep.
But
Yeah, she's in a crystal, and like they haven't done anything with her since season 1.
yeah, I feel like there's going to be some wrap up to Annie.
There has
There
to be.
has to be, yeah.
Even if it's Levi eating her, which I wouldn't be mad about, but him being the female Titan would be weird. But I have wondered, and I've actually asked this question last season when they showed Armin, and he's fond of her now because he has Bert Holt's memories.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been fond of Annie, and they said that he spends a lot of his time in that room with her talking and shit.
Yep.
So I started thinking then, like, wait, the female Titan, there's not many females, and I don't see Mikasa becoming a Titan anytime soon. So who the fuck would end up inheriting that Titan? Because they have to pass it on. It's going to die.
Yeah.
She's been a Titan as long as Reiner. So
Yeah.
they don't have her and Reiner don't have very long.
But we talked about this when we did our first Attack on Titan episode. I mentioned that when they showed her, she didn't age. And I wonder if she's like not aging. I wonder if like the 17 years or what, I forget what the time period is.
13.
I wonder if she's currently not undergoing that. Like I wonder, because she's in case she has not aged. She's not old. She's not like an adult now.
That is a bit unfair. If that's the case, I'm gonna say that that's not the case. But that would be very interesting if she literally is like frozen in time because she's in that crystal. That would be so broken.
Yeah, I'm only thinking just because she still looks like, however old she was, 17.
And I mean that makes sense though that she looks the same and everything because she has no bodily functions right now. She's not peeing or eating or you know what I mean. Like she's not assumed her heart isn't beating either because. Or maybe at a very, very, very like spiders can do this thing where they pretty much seem dead. They don't even really have a pulse. So I don't know if she's doing some shit like that. But from what we understand, none of the natural things that humans have to do she's not undergoing any of them while she's been. And it's been years. It's been 4 years.
Yep.
So she doesn't eat water because no one has been able to get to her. She doesn't eat water.
Yeah,
she
she's
doesn't
just
eat food.
been in this crystal, like.
And any human that doesn't have water or food for 4 years would obviously just perish. Like she'd melt away. But she doesn't look like she's remotely melting away or anything.
She looks like the day it happened. So it's interesting. That's
you
why
you might be right.
Yeah.
But because one of my questions that I posed was, when you get a new Titan, Eren has 3 of them. When you get a new one. Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the I Am Nerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.